welcome to another episode of Danielle DeVita. So, I am wanting to go over a few things. Today, we're going to just do this podcast style because sometimes this is hard for many people um, to hear, and I just don't want the distractions. So, here we go. I want to talk about picking your battles. So many times we find ourselves in arguments with our significant other over things that are petty or things that may not necessarily have to turn into an argument. Now, things that bother you, you definitely can communicate and say, hey, this was bothering me when. And it's best to say it right then and there instead of waiting for so much time to go by because you may tend to forget when or um, it may turn into you always do this or never do this because you're accumulating it in your head and it seems like it's more times than it's not. And also the time has gone by. So the person is, feeling like you're talking about the past. So if it's bothering you, you can bring it up. And then that person, if they care about you, they will not want you to be feel a certain way. And then they will do better and you move on. But to dwell on things that does not have a big significance on your relationship is where the problem lies. And what that means is so many people in this day and age is very argumentative. They find any and everything to argue about. It could be the sky is not blue. The sky is really clear, and it is the light, the prism and the light spectrum that pushes out the different light. And then it could be that the ocean is not really blue, it's just a reflection of the light. So if someone says, hey, the ocean is really blue on this part of the what I'm looking at, and oh no, it's not really blue, blah blah blah. Basically, someone is always having some argument. It's almost like you're always in the courtroom. And surprisingly, with my background, I even though I could find myself wanting to always have persuasive point of views, that stuff can be saved for the courtroom. It can be saved for litigation or things like that, or in big scenarios. Not necessarily something that needs to be always some type of argument or round table in your relationship. It just doesn't need to be. It could be just like, whatever. So many times we're arguing over toilet paper and remote controls, things that are just so petty, and the argument goes on and on and on. And it's like a serious, heated argument over something so insignificant. And a lot of times it's because people don't know the root cause of why they're upset. So in many cases, it could be you always have hog the remote. You always do this. You always do that. You always take the last tissue and things like that. And it's not saying that you would never discuss, hey, can you remember to replace the tissue? But for it to become a full argument, what you're really arguing about is if it's the remote, you feel that you don't get a chance to watch what you want. So that means the person is not taking the time to care about things that you care about, not necessarily the remote itself. It may be being considerate. If you drink the last juice or you use the last toilet paper, basically, I want you to consider how would you feel if, you go and get some juice that you really wanted or get that last toilet paper you thought you had and it's not there. So it's really about being considerate. But we're arguing about something petty and insignificant when we could be going to the root cause of what it is. So, and sometimes we're arguing over things that it just doesn't even need to have a place in the argument. So I say this just to let you know, if you want to know, is this something that you should discuss, or if it's something you should just pick your battles, which means it's not something that you should make a big deal of. If the situation does not compromise the trust in your relationship, so there's no cheating or you feel like you can't trust that person because they're withholding something from you, but it's not a compromising your vows and things like that, Then the other thing would be, is this compromising, or does this tap into your values? If you have values, will this compromise your values? Will it compromise your integrity? So is the thing that someone is, the argument that you're having or the situation of concern, is this something that's going to go against your morals, your values, or your integrity? So are they trying to do something illegal or wrong or unethical? What is it, something that you guys, that are, you're arguing over something that is unsafe? Is it tapping into your standards? Is it going against your standards? So if one of your standards is respect, are they being physically, emotionally, sexually, verbally abusive in any way? If they are, then that means it goes against your standards, and it is something that needs to be discussed. Did they dismiss your feelings? Because that may be a standard that you have. Now, the other thing would be, if it's not a standard, it may be a deal breaker, like cheating, or, like I said, physical mistreatment. If that is a deal breaker, it could be a fundamental issue, like maybe they don't have the same religious belief. These are deal breakers. If they want an open relationship and you don't, these are deal breakers. You know, are they into illegal things and you're not? It may be a deal breaker. Are they a smoker and you're not, and you just repulse smoking and things like that? If these are things that are deal breakers, if they go against the standards that you have, which means that's why you can't be hypocritical with your standards. If it goes against the standard that you have, if it goes against your values, your beliefs, your morals, if it challenges your integrity, if it makes you feel unsafe, if it's illegal, if it compromises the trust, if you know whatever this person is doing, you're less likely to trust them. So they're breaking a vow, or they're cheating, or they're emotionally cheating. They're lying. These are things that is up for discussion. If it's about, well, you like Chinese and I don't, and I'm tired of you eating Chinese all the time. Like, if it doesn't have to do with health, that they're eating to the point that they are becoming obese and now they have high diabetes and things like that. If it's not something that's unsafe or anything like that, then it's not worth the argument. It's just not. Sometimes we just have to chalk it up. Sometimes it's not even worth bringing up. You know, sometimes the toothpaste issue. People have issues with, oh, you left the cap off the toothpaste. You know, some things is really worth, it's just not worth arguing about. You may have a discussion, but it's not worth arguing about. And the difference between a discussion and an argument is, one, the discussion is more like you're like adults and you're having a conversation back and forth. An argument, you are talking over each other. You're so loud with each other. You're almost acting like children. Like if you have children, you may see, if you have more than one, they're arguing back and forth. No, my toy, no, mine, nah, 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 nah. Like, you need to get to the point where you're able to have adult-like conversations. One person listens, the other person is taking notes and wanting to make the change, and then there's reciprocity. So when the other person says their point of view, you're listening and you're making the change as necessary. Again, as long as none of these things compromise trust in your relationship, is a deal breaker, goes against your values, your integrity, your morals, or your standards. Okay? So hopefully you guys learn a little bit about picking your battles, what's trivial, what may be petty, and what may be something that is of concern and that should be discussed and nipped in the bud and then moved on. Because we don't want you to never say anything that's ever bothering you, because at some point in time, something that someone does may hit any of those points that I said, your values, your standards, and so forth. But again, if it doesn't, Just simply say how you feel about it and then move on. And then that's another topic of conversation. If the person just completely continues to dismiss you and nothing ever changes, or the other person doesn't intend to grow, then that's a conversation for another day. But at this point, we're talking about things that are insignificant and petty, and then just getting to the root cause, fixing that, and then moving on. But if you do need coaching, you are able to get some type of mediator or third-party mediator. And you can do that by going to mymentor.life/Danielle DeVita. And I do coaching as well. So leave your comments and your thoughts in regards to this situation. Talk to you guys later. Bye.